Oh, it's been pretty nice in Austin so far. Been having some fun, working out in the morning and stuff, so feeling pretty relaxed. Uh, but I don't know, life has improved like a lot over the last few months and stuff, like um just with like joining new clubs and like working out more and meditating and stuff, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I started that before all this though, but yeah. No, like, well, I think it's funny, I had my bl this is a funny story. I'd had my blood work done in November, right when we started with you, and my DHEA was 564, and I just had it rechecked a couple weeks ago, and it's 124. So my stress hormone went down, and I definitely, it's on record, and I would say it has a lot to do with you.
I had just like been in the hospital and was just still trying to like I don't know how much I should share, but I was still trying to like adjust to like having a girlfriend and like having friends that were like quasi supportive and stuff and like not really knowing what to do with myself after that. And um I just kind of had like no like direction. And like when I was in like really bad places emotionally, I just like didn't really know how to take care of myself in those situations. And I think just like even like being introduced to you and like starting with like working together and just being able to like just like even from the beginning just being able to like call you when I'm struggling was just like such a lifesaver. But I just was like really lost and like was just trying to find like the easiest like solutions to the way I felt. Anxiety and I mean like depression is kind of a lack of emotion, but I would say depression and like like huge swings of like one day I'd be, like, up till, like, 4 doing homework or something, and the next day I would be, like, just, like, super depressed and not be productive, and it was just kinda hard to, like to adjust every day to the way I felt and, like, not know what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm also a clinical therapist, and so I knew clinically what was happening to him, and I would say I knew what, to do, and it was so frustrating to not reach him, even though I knew we loved each other and had a good relationship, but there really is something about having a third party. I mean, you need a subjective or an objective third party like yourself to help not only me calm down as the mother, but, learn to trust that there's probably another way for him to figure this out, and it's not with the parents. It's so frustrating, because no one loves him more than I do, and I'm a clinical therapist who knows how to like, well, if you just do these things, right? And yeah, it was debilitating. Like I said, my DHEA was 564. I was like, you just can't the amount of like love you have for someone and then to know that they can't hear you um, it's devastating for the parent, and you really do need the third party, and I didn't know that, I didn't understand that until I met you because I didn't want him to go to therapy, to be honest, as a clinical therapist, because I knew the long road that would mean, and I just wanted to cut to the chase, and when I heard it was not therapy, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I'm looking for him." And I thank God he was open to it, I don't know, why were you open to it? Because I was like, "Why don't you talk to this guy?" And you're like, "Why did you say yes?"
To not therapy?
Yeah, like, how did you agree to talk to him in the first
I
place?
just didn't know what else to do,
Hmm,
so it was, like,
yeah.
my only solution, really.
Yeah,
I was just desperate for help at that
yeah.
point.
How did you trust me to as the parent, how did you trust me to talk to him?
I Well, honestly, at the beginning, I just thought it was, like I didn't think it was gonna be, like, a super, like, impactful thing. I
You just
kinda
did
just did it because, like, I was like, "Well, I'm not doing anything for myself anyways, so I might as well try this?"
yeah,
But I didn't know you didn't wanted me to do therapy, though.
yeah.
I thought you were open to me doing
I
therapy.
was open to doing whatever would help, but I
Yeah,
knew it's a long road. Like the therapy itself, they make it a long road. And,
yeah.
I think that's the great thing about you is you kind of cut to the chase. Not that you don't, neither obviously I'm a therapist and you go to therapy or have gone to therapy. It's not like we say you shouldn't go, but there's just more. We just need more.
Oh, well, I think just like, just going into the therapy session and, like, I remember a few times when I first started, like, in therapy, like, that was probably, like, 8 months ago, maybe, or something like that. Like, I would sit on the couch, and I would just be, like, miserable in front of the therapist. And, like, after an hour was or after 50 minutes were up, he was like, "Alright, I'll see you next week." And I'm still laying on the couch just, like, miserable. And
Yes.
it was just a very, like, insensitive and, like, just, like, not a very deep, like, we weren't really working with each other. It was more just, like, it feels like he was trying to, like, make his hourly pay and, like, that I was just another. I guess I didn't feel unique, or, like, I didn't feel like I mattered, or, like, that's not really the right word. I didn't feel like I was valued, or that there was any, like, attention being placed on me, as opposed to just, like, the next client that came in, you know? Well, some hesitations I had was probably, like, it was a totally new, idea to me that, like, you could actually, like, approach someone with your problems, and so, like,
Mm.
regularly, I mean, like, every day, and so that was kind of, like, something that I questioned a lot, just, like, the reliability of it, that I could talk to my not therapy coach, like, whenever I wanted, and I guess also just I wasn't used to the other hesitation I would say I had was I wasn't really used to opening up to people very much, and I guess that was just, like, a new experience to have to, like, actually vocalize my feelings and, like, I guess have someone that felt like they were, like, genuinely trying to help me was. I almost didn't trust it, at first, but I'm really glad I did eventually.
I guess the only hesitation that I had for trying that therapy was the fact that I had a conflict with my spouse. So, yeah, not agreeing with my partner, about trying it, and that was probably the only hesitation of really wanting to be a united front on that, but I had to go with my gut and had to use, just to trust that I knew he would respond because I've been a coach before. I knew the power of coaching, but yeah, I'd say without my only hesitancy is as a parent, not feeling like that united front sometimes, but just trusting that, you knew what you were doing.
I would say the first time I really had, like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, that I had, like, a mental breakdown and I called you, and just kinda realized, like, how easy it was for me to intercept like, those feelings, and just having someone to be there and just say, like, "It's okay," and just take a few breaths, and, like, I remember doing that the first time where I called you and you were just like, "Take 5 deep breaths," and it just totally cleared me up, and, that was probably one of the most impactful moments, but I feel like introducing me to, like, Breathe with Sandy and stuff was probably the most beneficial
Mm.
thing so far because it just totally opened up my mind, and, yeah, it made me feel much more free to push myself, I guess, after that.
Well, I think a lot of what Cooper goes through is internal, so I'm not really sure, but I can say as far as a mother-son relationship, I feel like that therapy allows us to do couples counseling in a way. It's almost like this objective, person who is able to be on both sides, like, wants our relationship to be better and literally wants our relationship to be better and is advocating for both of us to have a conversation, in a way that's better for both of us. Like, it's I'm I will say I was shocked at how much I gained as a parent. And just straight up talking to, the not therapy representative, it wasn't, the coach was more impactful to me as a parent than I thought that I realized would happen. I thought it was just gonna be, Cooper and the coach, and it was me and the coach too, and it was phenomenal.
Well, I think the biggest thing was probably that I had a lot of, like, cruxes. Like, I almost had, like, this way of thinking where to ignore my experience, like, ignore my feelings and stuff, I had to have, like, one thing that I was doing, and, like, that was gonna just kind of save the rest of my life, and that was just the way I thought for a long time. But I think the biggest thing that has changed is kinda just realizing how much work I actually have to do to improve, and how there has to be, like, a active and, like, consistent drive to improve my experience. Um, and I think also just the other thing that I would say is just realizing that your emotions are, like, really easy to deal with if you stop and think, "What am I gonna do to improve?"
I think for as a parent watching my son move into a place of, first of all, self-awareness and acceptance, again, as a parent, you often are completely aware, of the potential in your kid, but when they don't know that, it's devastating, one, and then two is to see your kid accept that they can do something for themselves in a way that they didn't know before. Um, Not to say, like, you don't have ups and downs, but just there's a new level of awareness and acceptance I've never seen in Cooper before.
So I think before starting Not Therapy, as opposed to after, I feel like I was just, kinda lost and, like, I didn't really have any support and, just unable to really, like, help myself and or even, like, really improve my experience at all, like, um and I feel like what really changed after starting that therapy coaching and pretty much, like, after getting through a full 3 months of it, I have kinda just been introduced to all these, like, different things that I can do to support myself, like journaling, meditating, I mean, just general life management, like deciding, like, I wanna join clubs or I wanna eat better or I wanna work out more, like, just having more autonomy and, like, drive to improve, you know?
I think this is the first time that I've seen glimpses in Cooper that he might end up being excited about his life. I don't think it was for like a long time. It was just, I'm anxious about my life, or I'm scared about my life, or I don't know what to do. And this is the first time I've seen him actually, again, it's not 24/7, but there's glimpses of I have a reason to be excited. Like there's things I didn't know that I know now, and he can kind of take the reins, which is also a big part of coaching versus therapy. Therapy is, again, like you said, talking about what you don't want, but coaching is talking about what do I want, and I just need help. How do I take the reins? Like, how do I take ownership of my life? How do I claim my life? How do I be excited? And I think I starting to see those glimpses now.
I would say that having a coach who, like, understands my experience as opposed to just, like, a therapist, is, like the therapist is probably just, like, learned all this from school, and they don't actually have, like, firsthand experience of, like, the subjective, like, experience in, like, how it really makes you feel to improve yourself and how it really makes you feel to, like, be in that, like, ditch, you know? And I guess just having someone that understood it, it was just kinda made me feel like I wasn't alone, and also that, like, I did have hope to improve, and just to, like, hear my coach's story and just, like understand how, much success he, like, got and, like, how much, like, of a great life experience he got after all of that, like, just really gives me hope, and to think that, like, it was around the same age that he went through all this stuff and, um shoot, I probably shouldn't say he, but I don't know if you care, but where was I going with this? I can't remember.
That was good.
That's probably good enough. I think I said enough.
Yeah, again, as a therapist, I feel like my job in therapy is to help people self-reflect for sure, and I think that there's a place for that. But as far as implementing actual change in your life to a coach who's been there and done that, I mean, that's believable, right? I mean, you're the walking example in a not therapy coach of somebody who's walking their talk. And it's easy for me as a therapist to sit back and say, "Oh, maybe you should go work out or maybe you should do these things." But their suggestions, versus a coach is a totally different, ball game.